something that we remind ourselves every day within SEBI is that the SEBI preamble, the SEBI Act 1992 preamble, talks about three pillars which form the mandate of SEBI, right? They are investor protection, market development, and market regulation. So you often think of SEBI as a regulator, which is true, but only partially true. If you put these three mandates together, our actual mandate is aiding capital formation. It is sustained and sustainable capital formation that forms the cornerstone of our existence. So it's not just our job to regulate. It's not just our job to say no. It's not just our job to stop bad things from happening. It's also our job to facilitate good things to happen. The second area where I think we have a big opportunity, and you have to play a big role there, is investor education. If you want financial inclusion to happen, if you want this 10 crore number or 4 crore mutual fund numbers to go into 20 crore, as this program talks about, you need more and more education so that people feel comfortable coming into the securities market ecosystem. The moment we say risk is equal to annualized standard deviation of log normal returns, we lose 99% of the population. But we do have numbers of volatility to measure risk. What we need to be able to explain is what is a 15% annualized volatility? What does it mean in terms of what the investor feels in her bones? Understanding what is risk, being able to communicate that the way we communicate return, and getting people to therefore appreciate how do you reduce risk. So there's this lovely paper by Barber and Odeon, of 2001, which is very provocatively titled, Boys Will Be Boys, and it goes on, it's a long title. It asks the basic question, who make better investors, men or women? And it goes on to answer that question, no prizes for guessing, that women make far better investors than men. It actually does a research of 35,000 accounts in the broking ecosystem in the US in the 90s, goes account by account. What it finds is that it's not because of gender alone, by the way, it's a catchy title. What it shows is that the more you trade, the more you lose as a retail person, and therefore the less you make. There are plenty of other papers like this. The other lovely seminal paper, which many of you wealth managers must be talking about, is this Brinson Hood Biebauer, 1986, which effectively shows that the variation in return across various portfolios can 90% be explained purely by asset allocation. Choice of security, timing of security, etc. accounts for less than 5% of the variation in the returns of a portfolio. If you put all this together, what it tells you, be clear about what your risk appetite is. Construct an asset portfolio which ties up with that risk acceptance and sit on it. Do nothing. And that is your best chance for making what is called the efficient frontier of the highest possible returns for that risk acceptance. This is the kind of education that we need going through to people so that they have to rely less on finfluencers and other charlatans who are giving them get rich quick tomorrow kind of philosophies and getting them to induce them into the market. The reason it irritates SEBI no end is not just because it's wrongdoing. It's because they are playing with the most fundamental attribute of the securities market ecosystem, which is trust. If we lose the trust in the ecosystem of the average investor, we are doomed. Capital formation, which is the core of our mandate, relies on trust being in the ecosystem. One of the issues that we had in the debt market some years ago is when the debt holdings of mutual funds, open-ended mutual funds, became far higher than the underlying liquidity in the secondary markets. And therefore, when you had an event of actual withdrawals coming through, there was a problem. Let me reiterate, there is no problem today. Things are absolutely fine, which is why it's the right time to talk about these things. There is ample market liquidity. You guys are doing a good job of managing risks. But at the time when things are looking good is when we should think about these risks and proactively see what is it that we need to do to manage these risks. So here is my request to you as an ecosystem. Please ensure that this ecosystem, which is doing well, a great job of distribution, continues to have robust checks and balances, which ensure that there are no perverse incentives building up in the ecosystem, which sell products basis the commissions being earned rather than what is appropriate and suitable for the customer, especially the retail customer. I personally get very nervous when I see commissions being handed out to relationship managers, etc., based on how much volume of a particular product has been sold. The only metric in my view, and this is a personal view, as a regulator we should not have a view, as in my personal view, the only metric that matters is taking care of the interest of the client, the best interest of the client. And that has to be somehow actually be implemented.